starts. Okay, so welcome everyone. We will be mainly covering topics around Module 3. The main topics that we are looking at will be embeddings, multimodal embeddings, um, vector databases, RAG, hybrid RAG, and function calling. Okay, so these are the major things that we want to cover. Mainly because these are all the same things that you will need in order to be able to successfully execute project one. Apart from that, of course, we will also discuss other things, but these are the main aspects that we will cover. Okay, so from now on, it'll be mostly code based. So just be prepared to um, try the things out we are displaying or showing you and demonstrating, and see if you are able to replicate the results we are getting. Okay.
Okay. So is my screen? Yeah, it should be. Okay. So the things that we will be covering will be from Module 3, but they will be more important from Project 1 perspective. Okay. So I'll now start it. So I'll first talk about the embeddings. So can somebody tell what is use case of embeddings? If anyone have gone through week 3 module. Anyone wanted to talk about embeddings?
Embeddings are just numbers which are representing the data. Right.
Yeah, embeddings are vectors which represents.
They represent
Yeah,
the
that's it.
information in some probability space, right? In some n dimensional, depending on the number of dimensions we have, like we
Mm.
um, like we studied in MLP and all that stuff.
Is that numerical representation of what's
Uh,
text?
exactly. The numerical
Uh,
representation.
so embeddings are used for basically one of the use case of it is for identifying the similarity between different objects, or it can be text or images or anything. So yeah, and embeddings are lower than chat in terms of cost, but now I will start with the actual example of embedding. So this is using sentence transformers, which I guess it creates an embeddings of 364 dimension vector, and it downloads some model locally for uh, creating the embeddings.
Sorry
So
to
it's
interrupt you. What you say? 360 dimension,
364 dimensional vector.
64 dimensional vector.
364.
360. Okay.
That's what sentence transformers do.
Yes,
Okay.
we saw in MLP
Okay.
sentence,
Yeah.
text and images.
So now what I will be demonstrating will be of use of OpenAI's embedding. Instead of downloading something locally and then running, I will just consume embeddings that is generated by OpenAI. Okay. So
As everything we done in collab.
everything we done in Colab.
These codings.
I will be doing it inside VS Code, and you can do it in Colab as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is HTTPX, as we have been using it from a long time. It is used for sending requests to some uh, endpoints. So right now we are using OpenAI's embedding endpoint. Okay. Uh, I will change it to AI pipe or AI proxy. And so this is a function. And let me remove this and this one as well. So this is for getting the embeddings. And let us say if you have two vectors, how would you calculate the similarity between those two vectors? It is from math 2 or MLF. So can someone see that?
Using cosine similarity,
Yes. So we'll be using something called cosine similarity for getting the similarity between two vectors, and which will represent the similarity between two sentences or two images or those sort of things. So for calculating cosine similarity, I will be using um, this is the function that is to get the similarity. And what it is doing is we have one embedding that is for uh, text one, and then we have another embedding for text two. And then we are using dot product between them, and it is normalized. Okay. So this is
Basically, we see the distance between.
um, basically we check the dot product of two vectors.
Hmm. Norm between two vectors.
No, norm is so that it is normalized, so that the value that we get is from 0 to 1. But we are actually doing dot product, and then we are taking the norm. So this is norm of embedding 1, and then this is norm of embedding 2. This is for normalization. We have already got similarity over here, but we want to keep it from 0 to 1. That's why we are normalizing it.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, so let me just copy this part from here to here. And then we are using embed function, and we have text1 and text2. And this is another piece of code. This is for this is for calling get embedding function, which is calling this another function which actually gets embedding from OpenAI. Okay, and this is using text embedding 3 small model. So now let me replace the URL. Hmm? So I will be exporting this key to the environment. Just give me 1 second. Then I will also have to change the URL to AI pipes URL. So this is for chat completion. So I will just copy till here. And instead of chat completions, we have embeddings. So this should be able to generate the embeddings. And then apple and orange, these are two fruits. And then the another one is apple and lightning. So these are two different entities. So which two of them seems similar to you? To me, apple and orange, they should be more similar than apple and lightning. That is because both of them share same property of being a fruit, which is one reason this should be more similar. And let's just run this function, and we'll also have to import NumPy. So I'm betting this value should be greater than what comes from line number 32. Okay, let's see this exact value. This is getting NumPy.
So your terminal is run on Ubuntu.
Yeah, my terminal, it is running on Ubuntu, yes.
Is it WSL2 also?
Yeah, it is WSL. So you can see this WSL icon over here
Okay.
in the left side of, is it left side or right side? Okay, now I'm getting, this is some error. Let me, instead of returning it, let me write it out to a file. Write response to a JSON file, import JSON with open. Okay. Not found in 4.4. That is, this particular URL does not exist. Maybe some other URL is there. Sometimes if, yeah, now we have got the embeddings. This is, so this is for apple and orange, and then this is for apple and lightning. So these are less similar, and then these two are more similar. Okay. So now I will remove this function. This gets similar. Okay, this is regarding embedding. And so anyone have any doubts on embeddings, or should I move to multimodal embeddings?
So again, you explain what you do, what you change because your code is not running.
Yeah,
In
so I
in
did not change anything.
line
Yeah,
7.
yeah. In line number 17, what I changed is so over here, this is AI pipes documentation, right? If I go to this API documentation, I was earlier using wrong URL. So this was the URL that I was using earlier. HTTPS uh, colon and then sorry not colon aipipe.org open router, right? But the correct URL was this one. This is the correct URL that I have to use if I want to use AI pipe.
So here, no need to export everything. Before
No,
in
I have already exported OpenAI API key.
okay,
I did it off screen, so it was not visible to you.
because these small things we are new in coding. These small things create trouble when we doing these things. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, so okay, so you can either export it like this, um, and then the value of your key. Let us say this was the value of your key, or else there is one .bash rc file. You can keep it in this file as well. So if you keep your key in this file, then what will happen is you don't have to create it again. Sorry, you don't have to export it again and again. So these are two different ways. Okay.
So it remain intact whenever we clear this.
Sorry, I could not understand. Can you please
Just a minute, sir.
Yeah, even if you close the terminal session, if the variable is exported via bashrc file, then it will remain whenever you restart the terminal, those variables will be alive. So whenever you start the terminal, it runs bashrc script, and those variables are available to you.
Okay, sir.
So there was a session that Hrithik had done in week 1, which covered variables and exporting them, and also how to keep them persistent. So if you watch that session where he talked about these basics of Linux, then you'll be able to understand when we talk about exporting variables, what we mean and things of that sort. Okay. It's a week 1 session that was done specifically to address these issues.
Yes. Actually, I forget.
Okay, so yeah, this is multi-model embeddings. So over here, multi-model embeddings, they map text and images into the same vector space. So um, they are able to basically they can generate same vector dimensional same dimensions of vector for both images and uh, text, so that you can compare both of them. That is use of multimodal images embeddings. So if you give a image of cat, and then if you give a text, let us say a cute cat or something like that, then they tend to be more similar. So that is for matching something with inside the image itself. So getting information about image. So these are three different things: Nomic, Atlas, And I haven't tried this one, but I have tried the blue one. Let me see what is there on this one. Once logged in, open the dashboard and navigate to settings and go to API key. Settings and API key. Create a API key. This is test. Have created the API key and it will expire on, after 1 year it will expire. So now that we have created the API key, this is the example of how to use it. That is for text, and this is for image. Okay. Create Nomic underscore. Oh, text.sh. That is because this is using this is for text document, and then it is by nomin, so that's why I'm naming it like this. And then another script for Nomic image. Oh. And let's keep this code over there. And we have to pass two images, box.jpg and then cat.jpg and box.png. And over here, this is task type is search document, and then these are the two text. So we can change these two text, and let us see what it generates. Will it generate? Will it get us the similarity, or will it get embeddings? I think it will get the embeddings. First, I will have to export the key, which I will do it over here, or else I will delete it instantly just after using it. So the name should. And now let's run big text.sh. So it have got these numbers to our screen, and instead of printing it out to a screen, let's save it to some file. So for saving it to a file, I will, let's call it text response or something. I think it's a JSON, so I can store it as in JSON. Yeah, we have got the embeddings for. So these are two different values, and this is what we have got for the text, and let's get for the image as well. Output is image response.json. Cannot read files.
Where are the files?
Oh, cat and box it requires. All right, okay. What kind of cardboard box? So this is a cardboard box. So this should be a JPG image, but I have both of them as PNG. So let me change it to a PNG image. Mm, yes. Okay, now let's read these embeddings into a Python file and verify that both of them have same dimension. So I don't know, what should I call this Python file? Nomic NumPy maybe. I don't have to import anything. First, I want to read the JSON files. Read JSON file and store data in a dictionary. And we wanted to read both these image and text response. So let me copy the relative path. And this is text response. And that is image. And let us just print it once. Just to see if things are working properly. Okay, this should be fine. Yeah, now we have managed to read them properly, but now as we are able to see in this nested structure, we have embeddings, and that embeddings is an array of an array, right? So for okay, so how would I get the embedding of uh, what a dog from this response for the image of a cat, so not dog. Yeah. So cat was the first one over here. So the first embedding should correspond to the cat. So in the image response, if I go to the embeddings and then if I consider the first embedding, this should be cat img embedding. And then cat text embedding should be, is it the first one? Let's just check. Yeah, so for cat, it is the first one in the text as well. Then for box, it is the second one. Now, hopefully, we will be able to run it without any issues. Yeah, now we are able to run it without any issues. Now let's import NumPy and get the similarity between these two embeddings which we have generated. So we already have a function for calculating the similarity. So I will just use that in Nomic. So let's import that function from get OpenAI get the similarity. That is the name of the function, yeah. And I will also need these headers in here. This comment we can keep. So this is for getting the similarity between two text. Oh, it is for getting the similarity between two text, but we don't have text. We already have embedding. So I won't be able to use that function. So I will just copy this line and keep it in nomic.py. So let's just remove this bit and for NumPy is NP. And we want to calculate the similarity. And first we want to calculate similarity between cat's image and cat text. And then we also want to normalize them. And let's calculate it for boxes fill and let's print them. So you run comic.py. Okay. So this is similarity between the image of cat and image of, sorry, text of cat. Yeah, so whatever was the text over there. And what happens if instead of that, if I get similarity with boxes embedding? Let me comment this up. So now we are trying to calculate cat's image embedding similarity with boxes text embedding similarity. So these are these are not similar things. So we are getting a low similarity score. Okay. Anyone wanted to ask anything? Okay. Then this Gina AI, it provides you embeddings, so you don't have to get independently for text and image. It gets you in this particular. So for first text, it gets first, and then for second text, it gets second, and then for these two images, it gets in the next bits. So image and text you can provide at the same time. And then this is also taking images and text at the same time. So on Discourse, if you go to any particular post like this, there are these images as well, right? So for project one, This is project one. So this is question: should I use GPT-4 Mini, which AI proxy supports, or what should I use? And then one image is also passed. So over there, multimodal embeddings might be would be useful to answer using the discourse tools. This is yeah, okay. This is again embeddings things. Okay, so this is vector databases. So they are used for storing the text corresponding to the vector that embeddings endpoint generates. So for RAG application, for example, this is the one. This is one of the questions from graded assignments. So this is TypeScript's documentation, which is on. So there are a lot of markdown files which have some coding examples or explanation about TypeScript itself. Okay, I will be running these snippets in the local machine as well. So this will clone from the GitHub, and then this is for chunking the text. So it will limit characters by 4,096 tokens. So in one chunk, there will be only 4,096 tokens. I will just show you in a minute how it is working. Okay. So this file. So basically, RAG applications, what they used to do is we have some search knowledge. So in this example, we have these markdown files, which are essential for answering any question that is being asked. For example, this is the question: what does the author affectionately call the syntax? And this is what it is. So it so RAG have some knowledge base, which are some files which are connected to it. And then what we used to do is we have embeddings for the data that is present inside the vector store of our RAG application. And then do we get the similarity between what question is asked and then what is available in our database. So we try to get the best similar thing, and then we generate the response based on that. Okay. So it is used for making chatbots which consume some knowledge as well. So, and this is for cloning the data. And this is for cloning. And right now I am in TypeScript book directory, and then I need to run this piece of code. What it does is so there are multiple markdown files, right? Over here, this is one markdown file. Then these are another markdown files, and then in docs there are a lots and lots of markdown files. These are a lots of markdown files. So now we need to store these markdown files in vector representation so that in future, whenever something being asked, we should be able to answer it. But we won't be able to store everything in single. So we are so for generating embeddings, right? We are sending text like this. So right now I'm sending apple. Where it goes to embeddings URL of OpenAI, right? But these models, they have some restrictions. If I go over here, text embeddings 3 context window. And basically, they have some limit on how many tokens they can parse. So that's why we are chunking the long markdown files. So there are lots and lots of markdown files, and some of these might be very long files. So for example, this is the one, and if I copy this piece and then it have it is using 1128 tokens, which are not much, which is uh, below 4096. But there might be some other markdown file which are very long and which may not fit in one go. So we won't be able to send the whole markdown file in a single request. That's why we are chunking them. Maybe this one might be more than, oh, that is even lesser. Okay, there might be few markdown files which are really big, or there might be a lot of markdown files. So let's copy this piece of code, and so all this we are doing under this file. Okay, let's call it chunks.sh bash. So it have started chunking the text, and it gets ID of the file. So this is only passing markdown files over here. It is going through each file which have .md extension, and then it is splitting those markdown files, and so that their limit is under 4096 characters. There is not a single file which have more than uh, 4096 characters. That's why this ID is not repeating. So I was looking while it was generating, I was looking at if this ID is repeating. This ID is basically a path of that particular file. So for example, this is contributing.md. This contributing.md is present in the root directory itself. So this is that file contributing.md. So the content of that file is written over here. Then this is glossary.md, and then this is license.md. These are multiple files, and if there was a single file which had more than 4096 tokens, then that would have split it into two different entries over here. But there is no such file which have more than 4096 characters. But this chunking is very important. That is because everything we cannot fit in a single request that goes to LLM. Is that clear to you? You would need to scrape data from discourse, and yeah, that we might talk in some other session, not in this session. Anyone wants to ask about so far what we have done on this chunking and why it is important, or something else?
Can you review the code which you use for chunking?
Yeah. Okay. This I just copied from TDS RAG with CLI page. I copied this stuff, and if I try to search for it, I won't be able to find it. Do you know why?
It's less than 4,000, that's why.
Yes, that is because all the files are less than 4096 characters. If there were a single file which was greater than 4096 tokens, then uh, this split should have been there, because that is acting as an splitter. Okay. So now that we have got these things over here, instead of creating a collection, I mean, we can do this. We also have AI pipe, but I won't do it manually. So far, this chunking is clear, right? Now, let's read this file line by line. Okay, and let's store embeddings for each one of these. So there are 140 different lines. So let's store embeddings of each one of these contents. Okay, so let's open this chunks. Let me first create a file, and let's call it chunks to embeddings.py. Open the file chunk.json and open it in readable mode. And this file should be in TypeScript book as if chunks is equal to f.readlines. So what this f.readline does is it stores these entries on the new lines. Why I am doing it is because this is not a proper JSON file, so I won't be able to read it. If it had to be a JSON file, then all these different entries, they should be inside a JSON array, and there has to be a comma after each of these lines. So right now there is no comma after first line, and there is no comma after the second line. So these are this is not a proper JSON file. It's just that it having extension of JSON doesn't mean that it's a proper JSON. So that's why I'm reading it by line by line. And then I am importing JSON. Now let's go to enumerate.chunks. I'm not sure what it does. Let me print it out. Chunks of I, yeah.
Will work.
Sorry.
Enumerate is going to put that in a list, right? So and I is going to get all those numbers in terms of the position of the list. So that should work.
So they should create a JSON, is it? Or some array of JSONs. That's what I'm thinking right now. I'm not sure. I was going to write a function for it, but if it works, then we don't have to write the function. As f3. Yeah, it have already created the chunks into the array. So now for every chunk in chunks, what I want to do is I want to get the embed. So let's copy those two functions from this file to here. This is for calculating the embeddings. And then we also need the similarity. Okay. Yeah, this is fine. And then these dependencies as well. From our earlier file that we had, we are getting the functions for calculating the embeddings using OpenAI text embedding 3 small model. And then we have also copied get similarity. So this get similarity, we'll use it later. So right now I won't be using it. We'll be using it later. So right now I will create a collection. So collection is like storing multiple things in the same similar kind of things. So store things of chunks in a collection, and then on this connection as something like this, and then instead of this weddings, and yeah, it will be a list. Now we need to populate this list. So now what I will be doing, I will be storing embeddings for each of these chunks inside this collection, and then we'll write this collection out to a file, and then later we'll use this collection to answer a few questions. Okay, so what I want to use for chunk and chunks, and then we have got the embeddings, and then we have this ID, and what this ID is doing. ID is for the source. Yeah, so in the embedding, let's store three things. The structure will be like, let's store source. So source is which document we used. So that we can get it via ID itself. So let's get that. So source will be ID of each of these chunks. And then let's call it source. And then actual embedding will be whatever we get from the embeddings. So these are the two things that we want to store. And let's also store the text itself, because that is relevant for generating response later. And then text, and this text is coming as content, and this is as content. Okay, and write collection to a JSON file. Wait outside function. Okay. And let me also increase the timeout in case if it creates any issue in between. So let's give it a timeout of 30 seconds. But it was never waited. I think I will need to use async, some library for sending asynchronous request. Or else what I can do is simple solution is don't make it async function, and this should work fine, I guess so. Okay, then I won't be able to use this, and probably I won't be able to use this as well. HTTPX is not defined.
You have written async client.
Let's remove these asyncs for the minute being. And this client HTTPX simple client, and then this response is equal to this thing. So now we are not using async anywhere in our code. And did you forget to import OS? Okay, I also need an OS module. But then again, I'm getting this error, and let's check the response which is saved in response.json file. It is response.json file. Data key is not present. In data key, we are trying to access it on line number 23, but by that time it should be able to write it out to file response.json, but it's not there. Okay, yeah, response.json is here. Oh, and I have got 404 error. Oh, I'm again using wrong URL. Unknown provider one. Provider should be OpenAI. Oh. Yeah, now I have got the embeddings. Now, in the meantime, it is saving these embeddings and it's storing these things inside a file. Is there anything that you guys wanted to ask? Anyone wants to ask anything?
Sir, will you be sharing this code, sir?
Generally, we don't really send these codes. So, okay, till step 2, I just copied code from TDS page itself. I can still copy this code, this generate embeddings code as well, and then I can locate the path for whatever collections that were generated, and I can read those things as well. But I just wanted to do it via Python so that it is easy for you to understand it. So
Because I'm trying to do it parallelly, but I'm not able to catch up with you. So I guess it will help us if you share later.
yeah, but generally we don't send codes for TDS, so we want the students to be able to write by themselves. You can refer back to YouTube video. It's taking a lot of time. That is because there are lots and lots of documents, and I wanted to make this script asynchronous so that it is faster to process. So if you make it asynchronous, then uh, the time that it takes for creating these embeddings reduces a lot. But for that, I would need to use something called async queue. I will just show you ASYN, I guess. Yes, ASYNCIO. And I guess dot run is what I need to use. So this is some what I need to use. So I'll make changes to the script later, maybe. And this we have stored inside our textbook chunks.json. So right now there is nothing in here. So type set is not JSON serializable, And this we got from line number 60. And that's when we were trying to write it out to a file. That means this should not have anything. Okay. Object of type set is not JSON serial. I have simple. But why it's a set when I'm using a proper JSON object? I don't know if I have made any mistake in between because this is collection.append. So I haven't changed collection. I have just defined it once and then, and oh, how can I make this mistake? Since it was not initialized properly, that's why there was some problem while saving the file. We are taking 5 minutes break while it is while these embeddings are getting created.
Sir, in the meantime, can you please open nomic.py?
Shall we start then? So these are the embeddings that's been created. So this is source file. It is created for this particular document. And then if I go all the way down, this OpenAI's embeddings, these are 1500 dimensional vector. And this is the actual text for which embedding was created for. Okay. Now that we have embeddings and everything, now let's ask some question to our model. So mm, ask question.py, and for that I need to open the collection that we just saved. Store collection type chunks in a variable. So with open, let me first import JSON as well. JSON load, and then we have this particular thing from drag x get similarity, and this I will remove it from here, and I will get that function for calculating the similarity to this place. Okay. And then it is getting the results, and let me save results as well. And let's save the results after sorting them. Okay. So can anyone tell me why we are doing the sorting operation? Why we are sorting whatever result we have got on similarity? So in this ask question, what we are doing is we are going through each chunk in the collection, and then in that we are storing the similarity to results. So result have source and then a similarity and then the actual text as well. So why we are doing this sorting operation? So we are keeping the higher ones first.
You only care about the most relevant stuff.
Yeah, so while answering any question that is related to the documents we have, we only care about most relevant stuff, or we care about top five. Let us say you want to generate a response based on top five. We don't want to use whole document. We just want to use top five. Okay. So this is for asking question, and let's call this function somewhere. So if underscore and then uh, let's say move this and maybe print result as well. So this will just get top five results, and we have saved whole results into a file. So what is purpose of TypeScript? I don't know if this question is actually answerable by the documentation we have. Let's just give it a try. And what are the things that I require? I will need to calculate embeddings of the new question. So this question is a string. So I also need embeddings for this question as well. So this function I need in here, and then I need to question embedding is embed question, and here for similarity I need to use their embeddings. So now we also need the dependencies. These are the dependencies. Am I okay? This must be in this folder. HTTPX is not defined. Was never awaited. Let me remove this async keyword from here. And line number 32. We have already calculated this embeddings. That's why we don't have to use text again for calculating embeddings, because we have already calculated embeddings. So for reducing the cost, we don't want to calculate it again and again, and we want to make our application faster. So if we calculate embeddings again, that is what was happening here, right? So it calculates for each of the collection embeddings again, which is really inefficient. So we have already calculated embedding, so there is no point in calculating it again. So this function was trying to calculate it again, but I don't want to calculate it again. I just want to use the same embedding. So let's take text 1 and text 2 over here. Actually, these are not text. Now let's call it embedding, or rather, I can just copy this function directly to my code. So you want between questions embedding, and then the embeddings of current chunk, and that is called embedding, embedding. So right now we are only calculating embeddings for the new question once, and which is correct workflow. Okay, NumPy, I need NumPy as well. And then, okay, we already have NumPy over there. Okay, so we stored it in results.json. So we asked what is TypeScript? So the similar documents that are relevant for answering this particular question was this one, why TypeScript.md, which is under docs. Why TypeScript? There are mainly two goals of TypeScript, and then this is uh, relevant thing that is there, and then future TypeScript. Future TypeScript. Okay, let's ask something different. And let's ask this thing. And these are the results. And in the results, this thing should be there. And preferably in the first one. But is it not in the first one? No, it's not. Oh, that is seventh match. So in the first one, this is there. And let me first read this whole thing. Let's take it to a file so that we can read it easily. Oh, why are we doing this? We already know which document it is. So under docs underscore JavaScript truthy.md. This file have Carlton, you wanted to say something?
Oh, sorry.
So this is the file that matched with which was uh, top resource for this particular question, for answering this particular question. And let's look at this particular file, docs JavaScript and truthy.md. So this is the GitHub repo, and this is inside docs JavaScript and truthy.md. And JavaScript has a concept of truthy. It means that what is the question we asked it? Which operator converts any value into an explicit boolean? Being explicit. So being explicit, quite commonly it helps to explicit that intent is to treat the value as a boolean. So yeah, it is identifying the correct document for answering the question that we have raised. So this is power of RAG application. And instead of looking in the single document, if you want to, so there might be, so this is similarity of the question that you asked with the document. And if this similarity is above this particular value, then only you generate the response. Something like that condition you can put. And once you get these top five, you can feed it to a GPT and ask it to write in careful, in good looking response. Or you can also provide the same thing. Yeah. Or anyone wanted to ask anything? This is it for the RAG part of today's session.
So we get the similarity. It's like a percentage between two.
So similarity is dot product. Just think of it as in how similar two things are. So in maths,
It's like in percentage form, no?
it is from 0 to 1 because we have normalized it.
Okay.
Because we are using normalized similarity, that's why it is from 0 to 1.
Okay.
And by default also, the vectors that are returned by OpenAI embeddings, they are normalized vectors. Even if you don't do this normalization, it will still be between 0 to 1. But if you are using some other embedding model, then and if you are not sure whether it's been normalized, then it is best practice to or do the normalization part. Okay. Anyone wanted to ask any question on this part? So far, what we have done. Okay, so that is what we planned for the session, and according to the planning, session went really good. So if you guys wanted to ask anything that is related to GA2 or project or GA3, anything you can ask now.
Sir, in GA2, when we run JSON, Vercel, it
Okay.
always show me always error. Why it is V2, as you explain, sir explain, Arden who explain.
Can you share your screen?
No, I'm already all these things I close. That's why I'm not showing till ye- yet now. I'm doing at night actually.
Yeah, I mean, if we can't see what the error is, we can't really debug it for you, right? I mean, the common problems that most mistakes tend to be for Vercel are to do with whether the repo is private or public, whether the app is private or public, whether the URL you're using is the correct URL. So sometimes if you use the wrong URL that it provides, then it will not work as well. So common things, these are common things to look out for. So
So Vercel should be public.
yeah, it should be publicly accessible. The easiest way to test it is without using your computer, ask someone else to test your Vercel application. So if you remember, when I posted the Vercel application, I asked you guys to actually try it out, and you guys were not on my network or in using my computer, right? So, and the fact that you guys could interact with it showed that it was working, right? So, if you ask someone else to test it out, that will give you some good clues as to what the problem is, right? If you find that they are able to interact with your application, then something else might be the issue. But 99% of the time, these are the common things. Either the repo is not public, or the Vercel application is not public, or the domain name that you are using is not the right domain, because it gives you two or three different domain names, and you have to wait till it generates the public domain name, and so
Okay.
you have to check for those things.
Okay, sir. We'll try again.
Okay, but yeah, get someone else to test it, the endpoint, not on your computer.
Hmm. Sir, in question week 2, 9, 10, and 11, there when we uh, type the answer is correct, but after some time when we again submit, it show me error because key is
So you were asking about,
expired. That's why
was it related to question 9?
10 and 11, I think. Um,
So ninth is related to GitHub code spaces. For that, you will need GitHub token, and
no, I think this was running properly.
okay.
I think 10th and 11th and I think 9th, this one fast API. No, Google authentication, this one, and uh,
Okay, and then probably the 12th one.
no, 12th is okay. It's running, but when we submitting, it's a check. I check it. It is correct. But when we doing Vercel, it's not. I think I submit that thing and it show me error again. Due to this, I think
In question 10th, you are using Vercel, is it?
no. Versal was question 6 actually.
So what is the issue that you're facing with question 10?
Just I show you just a minute.
I mean, meanwhile, while you guys are waiting, I mean, if you want to ask any other questions, you can. I guess no one, no one else has questions. Okay. So after we answer Bhavana's questions, then we'll end today's session, okay? Because it seems like no one else has questions.
Sure.
So can I share my screen now?
Yeah, sure.
Then you see this 12th question fail. Whenever I do in night, it show me correct answer. Even this question also, error token has already expired.
But for this one, just generate ID token again, because ID token is valid for 3600 seconds, which is 1 hour.
This also show me error failed to fetch.
So can you open the network tab for this question, which you are showing right now? Can you open network tab?
This one I could not get the right answer. This is 6th question, I think. No. It's already due. This also is, show me error. No code space found. This is correct. This is correct.
Okay,
This
so
also
Bhavana,
was while
we'll have to go and check one at a time, right? So if you have a specific question you want us to address, then we can check and see what the issue is. Which question do you want us to address first?
hey, my question is why this happened. Actually, I did all these
Okay,
in at night, but why this happened
yeah. So it
actually?
depends. So
Will
we
I do again because you see at score at night 8.5 when we doing Versal the 6th question and again check and save it show me score 6.
Yeah, so that's because some things require the server to be up and running, right? So certain things have a time limit on how long they are active. So typically what you want to do is if there are those kind of questions where there is a time limit on how long they are valid for, you do those last. So in this case, what you do is you reload the 8.5 and certain
Mm-hmm.
questions that have some time limit on them. Those things you keep for the end and you do them at the end when you're loading the question. So because that's validation is done on the front end, not on the back end. So that means it's done on your browser itself.
So
And
you
certain
check
things,
only the score, whatever score we get at the last.
yeah. So so if you, for example, if you look at the second line there, right, it's got 8.5. So if you reload that, okay, if you press reload, it will load all the answers from that set that had 8.5. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and then the issue you will have is certain questions, okay, require first of all the server to be running. So for example, the one where you had the server running on your local host, your fast API server, right? If it is not running,
Okay.
when you do a check, it is going to fail because it's the server is not running, you see. So that's why those kind of questions which require all the server to be running, or it requires the authentication token to be live, the cookie to be live, any of these types of
Mm-hmm.
questions, you leave it for the end. Do all the other questions first, which don't require a live service. And
Okay.
then when you leave those questions at the end, you keep the answers, spin up the server, keep those answers for the end, load them into the checkbox, and then you should be able to score a 10 if you get all the answers correct. Okay,
Okay.
you understood, right?
Yes, I understood.
Okay, so that's because we do all the validation on the front end. That's why.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Then I'm stopping the session, right?